Now, one of the things that I've always wanted to grow is tomatoes. And what a better way to actually have a conversation with one gentleman, Makwagali. One thing I've also realized is he comes from my home area, Bulambuli. Oh guys, I'm a Mugiso from Bulambuli, just in case you didn't know. But I'm super excited to be here at Zoe Farms and Fisheries. And this section is, of course, the tomato section being headed by this gentleman. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well.
Maybe you say hello to our viewers and introduce yourself, tell them your name and so forth and so on, what you do here.
Hello, our listeners, people watching us. My name, I'm called Masava David from Sironko.
Okay.
I'm so happy that I have met my tribal mate as well as my district mate.
Yes.
I'm very happy.
Okay.
Yes.
So what do you exactly do here at Zoe Farms?
Here in Zoe Farms, we do here the number of things. Actually, first of all, I'm an agronomist. I do a number of things. I grow tomatoes, as you're seeing. I grow watermelon, I grow pumpkins, I grow sukuma, I grow cucumber, I grow everything. Actually, I grow them here. Okay. Yes.
So, but today we are not going to talk about everything. Yes, I want us to talk basically about the tomatoes, because they've stricken me, they've captured my attention. How do we start? Because I even see you've planted it in a different way. I mean, growing up, they were just, grown on a surface. But here I see you've raised here, you've slowed here. How do we start tomato? Where is the process? Where does the process start from?
So here, where we start from, here actually people used to grow tomatoes in the local way, whereby the local way people just grow tomatoes. If the land is like this, they just grow tomatoes in the vast land. They just grow anywhere. And we realize that if you grow tomatoes just in the land, just plain you grow tomatoes, it will occupy a lot of land and you harvest very small yields. So we came with the idea of modern farming. So the modern farming, we thought, how can we improve tomatoes from growing them in the large land and you harvest little? We said, how can we do so that we can harvest a lot in tomatoes? Very small portion, you harvest a lot. So we came up, we said, no, what we should do, let us try to dig the beds 1 meter. We divide our garden, we dig 1 meter, 1 meter, 1 meter, 1 meter, the length of 1 meter. We see if we do like this and we compare, we plant just in the plain land, we see how are we going to get, will the yields be equal? So we practice it, we dug our beds, we planted our tomatoes on the beds, we also planted the tomatoes just in the plain land, not digging the beds. So by the time we harvested, the time of harvesting reached, we harvested the tomatoes, we realized that on the beds, which when you dig the beds like this, you get more compared than in just in the vast land. So we decided, we say now we shall no longer plant tomatoes just in the plain land. We shall just start digging using the beds, plant them using the beds.
Okay. So for tomatoes, where do we start from? Do we buy them already grown up or we start from the seedling? I don't know. I've never grown them. Somebody out there might also.
Some farmers they buy the seedlings, but for us here, since we have knowledge of starting from zero, we don't need to buy seedling, because buying seedlings, it is more expensive. Okay. You will realize that one seedling, you're buying it 500, one seedling. And a tin of tomatoes, you might buy it, it depends which variety of tomatoes. So you might buy the tin of tomatoes at 130,000. And you find the seedling, one seedling like this you're buying 500. So if you compare the person who have bought the seedlings and the person who have bought the seeds, the person who bought the seeds is far better than the person who bought the seedlings.
Okay.
Yes, so our tomatoes here, we start from zero. We buy the seeds, we raise our seeds. After raising our seeds, then we transfer it to the main
Before
garden.
we transfer it, how do we prepare for the nursery bed? What are the key components of the nursery bed for tomatoes?
For tomatoes, if we want to get good healthy seedlings for tomatoes, the first step, you should look the site. You should first select the site where you are going to put your nursery bed. In the sites, you should there are factors you should follow. Firstly, you should look where the soil is not sandy. The soil is somehow
Dark
with some vegetations around. Then you find maybe where they have dumped some dung, like hen droppings, like goat droppings. That soil have almost all the nutrients from those droppings.
Okay.
So if you set there your nursery bed, the seedlings will grow very well.
Okay.
Yes, and they will be very healthy.
Okay.
Yes.
Apart from that, what else? Do you need to put it in raw, or you just sprinkle and they will grow on their own?
It depends. Some farmers just broadcast, but the right way, if you want your seedlings to grow very well, you should create the laws. You dig 1 meter, length of 1 meter, then the height you can raise up to 15 centimeter height, the ranks. Then it can be wrong. We raise it high so that in case it rains, the soil erosion will the water won't come and take away this bed you have raised. Because if you just put it just down, then it rains heavily, the floodings will take place and they will sweep away all your seeds. So you will end up losing everything. So we dig high like 15 meters, then the length should be 1 meter. So that when you make your nursery bed, you are able to cover it, and when it rains, the rain doesn't reach those seeds of yours. It just goes aside and they leave your seeds safe there and they will germinate very well.
How do we safeguard against direct sunlight hitting on our seeds?
For us here,
do you leave the nursery bed open?
For us here, after making our nursery bed very well, you have sown your seeds, you bring the mulches and the mulch on it. The reason why we mulch our nursery bed, so that we avoid the direct sunshine to enter in your nursery bed, because if you allow the direct sunshine, it will make soil hard, it will make soil dry, so the seeds won't germinate very well because the soil is very hard. Those seeds are very delicate. They need the soft soil when the soil is moist, so that penetration of that seedling when it's germinating can come out. So you cover it with mulches. After 1 week, those tomatoes will germinate. After germinating, you remove the mulches. After removing the mulches, you build a shade on it. There are 2 types of shades which I prefer. There are the shades which you will use the sticks, the poles, you make a shade, then you bring the mulches and you put on top. I discourage that. The reason why I discourage that, if the heavy rain comes with the wind, will blow your shade and it will fall on tomatoes and it will spoil it, you end up losing it all. So I encourage my farmers, my fellow farmers, if they are raising the nursery bed, let them use the use the kind of the nets, something like a net. It might be the old mosquito net. So you bring your sticks, you put the sides of your nursery bed in the curved way, then you bring this net and cover on top. So when you have covered that net on top, since these seedlings need some sunshine to grow and the light to grow, that net have the smaller walls which will allow very little sunshine to enter inside and make those seeds to grow very well. Yes.
Okay. So now, at what stage, how long do the seedlings take on the nursery bed before being transplanted?
If your soil where you set your nursery bed, if it is very fertile, these seedlings will take only 3 weeks. 1 week is for germinating, then 2 weeks it is for growing. Up to that time you will transfer it. So mainly it will take only 3 weeks and you transfer it to the main garden.
Okay, so we've now transferred to the main gardens. We've dug our, the spaces like you explained. What next do we do? Do we apply manure, fertilizer? What do we do?
Firstly, before you transplant your seedlings to the main garden, after you have dug, you have raised your beds 1 meter, the way you have seen here. After raising your beds very well, the step which you should take first, you can't just bring your tomatoes and you just plant just like that. Make sure where you are going to plant your tomatoes, the soil is somehow okay. When the soil is moist, when it somehow cool, moist, then that one will support your seedlings to catch up with that soil. But if it is dry like this, then your seedlings probably will dry all. So after you have finished, your beds are very clean. If there is sunshine, for example, right now there is sunshine, a lot of sunshine.
A lot, guys.
Yes, sweating. There is a lot. And you want to plant your seedlings. What you do, you measure 60 meters. 60 centimeters, 60 centimeters by 60. So after measuring 60 by 60, this should be 60, then the length we should be apart. Yes, even apart should be also 60. The reason why we give that 60, so that these tomatoes will put branches, and when it puts those branches, this one also will put branches, so they will meet here. So if you don't space them very well and they get congested, they won't put very well, they will not heal very well. They will just grow fat and tall, and they will not put enough tomatoes for you. So you should give them enough space for them to enough space for them to mature, to actually yield. To yield. They should get dirty space for aeration to enter, dirty air to enter around. Yes.
So let's look at tomato maintenance. One of the things I know about tomato is it's a delicate crop. Once you don't use either pesticides or something, you're bound to lose. At what stage do we see that? Do we start that immediately or before? And do we apply fertilizer? At what age do we apply fertilizer, and what type of fertilizers?
It is a very good question. So our tomatoes, after you have planted them, you plant them, you count day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. So if you have counted up to day 4, from the day of planting, the day 4 you should bring the pesticide, because at day 4 those tomatoes are still very weak and delicate. We have the insects like grasshoppers. They will come and start cutting your tomatoes. They just come and they cut this stem, they will cut it from here, and when they have cut it from here, automatically that tomato is spoiled. So what you should do when you plant, then they have taken 4 days, you bring the pesticide. when you bring your pesticide, mix it very well and spray. The reason why to spray that, to avoid those grasshoppers from cutting your tomatoes. You understand? Yes. So after that, after you have sprayed that, take like 1 week. When you have taken 1 week, go ahead. We have the fungal diseases like alley blight. Alley blight is a very dangerous disease in tomatoes. Alley blight will come in your tomatoes, especially when they are very healthy. They have made that 1 week. They are very healthy. Those fungal disease, alley blight, will come and attack your tomatoes. When they attack your tomatoes, they will make all of these leaves rot at that early stage, and when those leaves rot, automatically you have lost that tomato. That tomato will not grow anymore when those leaves shed off. So for that, to fight for that alley blight, you go ahead and buy. We have the fungicide we use, like for me here, the way you're seeing my tomatoes are looking very nice here. I use the fungicide called Mistress. Mistress is a very strong fungicide for alley blight. When you spray, the alley blight won't appear. So if you spray that, that is 1 week and 4 days is when you spray that fungicide for alley blight. So after they have made 1 week and 4 days, you go ahead and bring DAP. DAP is a fertilizer. It's an artificial fertilizer. It is black in color. That fertilizer will help your tomato to penetrate, to develop a lot of roots. Because when that tomato is very young like that, it doesn't have enough roots. And those roots are the ones which helps it to suck the nutrients to help that tomato to grow very well and very fast. And when it doesn't have enough roots, it won't get enough nutrients for its growth. So you apply that DAP. That DAP will even help it to develop enough roots. They will run very fast to look for nutrients, to look for water. After you have pressed DAP, now your tomatoes have finished like 3 weeks. When they are finished at 3 weeks, your tomatoes will be almost of this stage here. If you feed it very well, it will be of this stage. Now this stage is where the tomato needs a lot of nutrients, because that stage is a stage of flowering. That stage is stage of flowering, so it needs almost all the nutrients. So you go ahead and you bring the goat manure. If not goat manure, any manure which is well decomposed, like this one here. This is a goat manure. It is well decomposed. So you go ahead and you bring this goat manure and you dug in the middle here. You dug a trench in the middle there. You dug a trench very long. Then you bring your goat manure and you put in that trench all over. So when you press that goat manure in that trench, this tomato here will go and get there in that trench, then those nutrients from this goat droppings. This one will also go, the other one will also come, the other one will also come. So you'll find that all of the tomatoes are getting all of the nutrients, and the tomatoes will grow very, very healthy.
So ladies and gentlemen, we are still here at Zoe Farms and Fisheries located in Tororo district. Sorry about the noise in the background, but this is a mixed farm. We have animals, we have pigs, we have cows, we have goats, a lot of things. But today we are still talking about tomatoes. Let's now talk to this gentleman on how to maintain after the flowering process. I see you've is that pruning? Why do we do pruning? Because I mean, if a stem or a stalk has many branches, it's going to give me a lot of yields. Why then do you prune it?
Specifically here, our tomatoes, when your tomatoes grow, have reached the stage of flowering, it will start flowering. And that stage, it brings also a lot of branches. Since it getting enough nutrients, you know, this organic manure, it have all the nutrients. All the nutrients which the tomato is required to get. So that tomato will get the nutrients from that goat manure, and it will start, since it getting enough nutrients, it will bring all over the branches. So don't leave all of those branches to grow, because if all those branches grow, puts a lot of branches, those branches will suck a lot of nutrients, and these tomatoes which it will put, they won't grow big, they will not grow fat, because these branches are almost taking all the nutrients. So what you should do, you prune, you remove some branches. If you see a branch, it is not going to make, you know, for us farmers, when you look at these tomatoes like this, you can know that this is going to make a tomato. This flower is going to make a tomato. This one is going to make. So when you see this branch is not going to put good tomatoes, you cut it off and you prune the leaves away. And another reason why we prune these leaves and these branches, first of all, these leaves attached to the soil, they attract the diseases. When these leaves are down like this, the diseases comes from this soil. The diseases move on this soil. So this disease will get attached to the leaves, these downy leaves, and these downy leaves will get diseases, and they will keep transfer it upwards. By the end, you will find that the whole tomato, it is diseased and it will all dry. So you have to prune to prevent the diseases from getting contact to your tomatoes. And another thing, so that if you prune, you remove these excess branches, your tomato will put enough and they will grow. They will grow very well and they will get enough yields.
Okay. What is this particular type of tomato, and how many varieties are there anyway?
This type of tomato I preferred. Actually, we have very many varieties of tomatoes. We have Pele, we have Padima, we have Anso, we have Novella, we have Rainbow, we have Terminator, we have very many. There are very many. I can't even finish counting it. For me, I went ahead and I said, which tomato can favor me very well? Which tomato can give me faster harvest of money? Which tomatoes can make me harvest money very fast in the very short period of time? I started with Anso. I planted the Anso. Anso was taking almost 3 months.
To be ready
to start harvesting. I left that. I went to Padima. Padima was getting ready, getting mature around 2 months and 2 weeks. That one was not favoring me very well. And the Padima puts fruits, and the fruits don't grow very big, don't grow very huge. I hit ahead, I said, which tomato should I plant which can take exactly 2 months, and I start harvesting. I went ahead, I consulted from my fellow farmers. I got the idea of Pele. I went ahead, I bought Pele. So here, mainly I'm planting Pele, and the Pele will yield a lot, and the Pele grow very fat. The tomatoes grows very big compared to other varieties of tomatoes, and it will grow within 60 days. 60 days you start
From
harvesting.
transplanting.
From transplanting, 60 days you start harvesting your tomatoes. These ones you see them here, they are 1 month and 2 weeks.
Wow.
1 month and 2 weeks. So by the time
they've already
yes,
put on and they have
and the time they are going to make it the 2 weeks to make it 2 months, these ones here they have started ripening. Me here, I don't grow tomato exceeding 2 months. No, it have never happened here. I grow now mainly 2 months. I start harvesting my tomatoes. So this is Pele F1.
Okay.
Yes, this is Pele F1 from East West Seed Company. Yes, it is a very good variety and yields a lot.
How long do you take? How I saw some small ropes.
Yes,
What
yes.
are their use on tomatoes?
This is a method of staking the tomatoes. We have very many methods of staking tomatoes.
When I was growing up, we used to use
the sticks, just use the sticks. Others just put the mulches down, then the tomatoes just lie on them and they put flower and the fruit on those mulches. I discourage that, and I also discourage the staking using the sticks. It is not a good method. If you use stakings, that is called the aerial method, just putting a stick on the tomato, supporting tomatoes using the sticks. It is the aerial method. I don't like that method of staking the tomatoes. That method, if you stake your tomato, of course now this tomato will have some good branch, very many branches, and you have to tie it on that stick so that it can be supported. And in that process of tying it, you realize there are some flowers shedding off in that process of staking, with tying it. Some flowers will drop, and you will gather all the leaves. The tomatoes will not have any play to grow. Since this tomato need enough play, enough space for playing and flowering, and you have gathered it very, very tight like this, it won't put enough tomatoes. So we went ahead and I discovered this type of staking. It is a very good method. This type of staking, you tie on the tomato round, then you tie on the pole. Every branch you tie it and you tie on the pole. So every branch will put tomatoes and it will be in its own space. It won't be congested with this one, and it will flower. There is no any flower which will shed off because it is having a play, and it will grow very well, and it will put a lot of fruits without any disturbance of tying them together. So by the end, you realize this tomato, you have put almost over 80 fruits. So this type of staking is very good. So
how long do tomatoes take after the first harvest? How long do you continue harvesting?
Now, for example, this variety, Pele F1, this variety, you will harvest it for almost 2 months.
Non-stop harvesting?
Non-stop harvesting.
As you continue
because
giving nutrients?
First of all, this tomatoes is having a lot of nutrients. This organic manure, it is still there, and you know the organic manure lasts for long. So this tomato will keep feeding on that organic manure. As it keeps feeding on it, it will also continue flowering. At 2 months, you will start harvesting. When you start harvesting, it is still flowering. The way you can see, these ones are almost mature, they are mature, but it is still flowering. So when you start harvesting, you harvest when it is still flowering, This tomato will grow up to here. It will pass this pole here. It will grow up to somewhere here. So as it is taking those nutrients, it is going to continue flowering. So you will harvest. By the time you reach here to harvest the fruits here, you are already in 2 months. So you will harvest these tomatoes for almost 2 months, and you realize this tomato have given you almost 80 fruits
per stalk.
Per stalk to give you 80. And if you feed it very well and you spray it very well to prevent the diseases like blight, you prevent the diseases like bacterial wilt. Those are the most dangerous diseases in tomatoes. If you prevent them, you will even harvest exceeding even 80 fruits. You might go even up to 100 plus
per fruit.
Per fruit.
Wow.
So you will end up like here, this portion here, you will end up getting 2M here. Just only this portion here, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 lines. You will get 2M from
and
here.
You have not invested as
and much. You have not invested at much. And I always grow my tomatoes, and I always aim which capital am I going to put in, where am I going to end investing in it. And in my tomatoes, I don't exceed 400. I don't exceed 400. I always put in 400. I end on 400. And when you put on 400, I get 2M.
Wow.
Yes.
That's meanwhile a space of about 50 by 100 or 100 by 100, something like relatively just about that. Ladies and gentlemen, unless you have any more questions apart from the ones I had, please leave them in the comment section, because like I told you, I'll be visiting Zoe Farms once in a while here and there to actually have interactions, check on them. How is the farm doing? How are they progressing? And so forth and so on. So we shall be definitely getting more questions answered by these experts that I'm meeting right about now. Thank you so much for giving us your time.
Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, until then, goodbye.